Welcome, everybody. It's another great day in our city because today, after years of work and persistence, over a decade actually, I'm here to announce that we have signed a letter of intent to redevelop the iconic Louisville Gardens building into a flourishing venue for music, film, and digital productions. It's a long time coming. It took a lot of patience to get here, but as Louisville's greatest son, our friend Muhammad Ali once said, "What keeps me going is goals." And the redevelopment of this signature downtown building has been a goal of my administration since day one. But we wanted to make sure it would have some nation-shattering announcement when we did it. We just didn't want any kind of normal development in here. And when you add today's announcement to others throughout this year, Louisville has almost $2 billion of new investment this year, making it one of the top 2 years in the history of our city for economic development. So that's really incredible, and it's another testament to teamwork, our local economic development model that's out there promoting and supporting business growth in our city and our state. I'm really proud to close out my administration with this significant economic development announcement made possible through the hard work of our economic development team at Louisville Forward and driven by their passion to see our community improve and to grow economic opportunity for everybody. This place, Louisville Gardens, holds a really special place in Louisville's history. When you think about all the people that have walked through these doors, and I'm sure many of y'all were those people when this place was open, and think about all the people who've graced this building, from Elvis Presley, Louis Armstrong, Martin Luther King Jr., and a young Cassius Clay who fought in Golden Gloves tournaments just behind these doors in the bowl. Think about that, all that electricity and excitement, all the family building that's taken place in here. Boy, if these walls could talk. It was a place for people to gather, to rally for a cause, to listen to some of the greatest artists of all time, and just have a good time. It's so important when you think about renewing space in a community. We've got a beautiful city, but it's an old city. You know, we were founded in the late 1700s, so you have buildings that age. How do you give them new life? And how do you make them then something like even grander and more special than what it was before? And so this project is adding to the fantastic renaissance that our downtown has seen over the past decade. When you think about how far downtown has come over the last 12 years with a 2-year pandemic thrown in the middle, it's quite incredible, and we're the talk of the country. We changed our skyline with the addition of the Omni. We expanded our waterfront east and west with the soccer stadium and Waterfront Park Phase 4 groundbreaking. We've welcomed and launched new companies and transformed legacy industries. Also in that time, we've created a new hospitality concept. We created Bourbonism, did that together. With downtown Louisville as the state-of-the-art bourbon trail and home to 10 distillery experiences, nationally recognized restaurants, and an energized Whiskey Row. We've welcomed 15 new hotels downtown, 100 overall in the city, with half a dozen more planned or under construction, and we renovated the Kentucky International Convention Center. The hospitality and tourism numbers now are great. They're beyond 2019. So when people talk about a recovery, we're done talking about a recovery. We're in a growth mode over 2019, a real testament to all of us. Now, because of all of this activity downtown, the Louisville Gardens building has garnered interest from multiple investment groups and developers over the years, but it was always important that we end up using something that will create a long-term benefit for the community, hopefully create a new industry as well, and be with a partner that understands our city and has a heart for the city. And we have found that with the development that we are announcing today. We're excited to work with the team at River City Entertainment Group, LLC, led by Tony Guanci and Scott Hodgkins, you're going to hear from them in a second, to transform this historic building into a haven for our creative economy. This historic sports and performance venue will become sound stages and workspaces for music, film, and digital production, and home for our creatives and young people in this community to come here and experience their dreams and realize their dreams. Now, I've known Tony Guanci now for over 11 years as a financial partner with Danny Wimmer Presents. So when they came to town and started scouting us out, it happened with a serendipitous meeting with Mike Maloney. Is Mike here? Mike's over here. Come over here, man. You should be standing up here, Mike. Mike utilizes all 24 hours in the day to be out and about in Louisville. Fortunately, one of those hours, he ran into Tony Guanci and Danny Wimmer and Danny Hayes, and using the hospitality that we're well known for in Louisville, started showing them around. That led to meetings in my office, that led to Louder Than Life, that led to Bourbon and Beyond, that led to Hometown Rising, an incredible partnership that we have with Danny Wimmer Presents. As I said, Tony Guanci was a financial partner and all that. So that's how we met Tony back in the day. And he's always been interested in Louisville, and he's invested in Louisville in a couple different ways as well. And if you know Tony, he's about big ideas and making big ideas happen and having a team around him that makes big ideas happen all over the country. So we're not talking with a group here that just says, oh, isn't this a great idea? This is a group that has great ideas but have proven performance all across the United States of America. So when you pair this project with state film incentives, which you're going to hear more about later, this use will advance our existing creative arts and entertainment industry by attracting more productions and creating additional job opportunities locally, the kind of jobs that we don't have in our community. And when I look around the crowd and when I look at our film commission back here, these are the type of jobs that we've been wanting to scale in our community all along over these last decades. Now, in addition to the sound stages, plans include retail space, restoration of the Black Box Theater upstairs, and a public museum that will highlight the significant cultural events that occurred here, and be a catalog for all the memories that people that have here. My first concert was here when I came to see Santana in the Tower of Power when I was 14 years old, and man, I thought that was cool. I was sitting about probably 25 feet in front of the stage on the left. I still can remember that spot in there. And yes, Craig, I came to some professional wrestling events here as well. So why don't you come over? This Craig Greenberg, our mayor-elect, is here. Come on up here with this, Mayor. When I talked to Craig about this project, he said, man, that's exciting. That's too good to be true. I said, well, when you work on something for almost 12 years, good things happen. So Craig shares the vision for this project and the excitement for this project. So this is going to lead to a lot of great future announcements for you, man. So don't forget our team, okay? So this project really complements Metro government's work to promote Louisville as a premier location for film, television, and content creation. This is the work we started back in 2015 when I created the Louisville Film Commission. Some people are like, Film Commission? What are you creating a film commission here? Well, number one, we had film going on here. We had people like Mary Kay Poe, where's Mary Kay, who've been working on projects like this for a long time, and a bunch of your partners. So we had talent here, but we weren't organized the way that we are now and the way we started back in 2015. The commission is made up of local and national film industry experts, works with Louisville Forward to advise on the marketing and promotion of the city to the global film community, as well as serving as a liaison and single point of contact for local visiting productions and workforce. It's part of the secret sauce of our city. As you all know, when people come here, we tend to hug them and love on them and help them, and the Film Commission does that. The Commission and Louisville Forward have supported and funded workforce education efforts to help residents obtain the know-how they need to get jobs on productions and ensure the productions can find the workforce they need when they come to town. So I'd like to recognize our Louisville Film Commission members and thank them for the great work they do. If y'all would raise your hands so we can say hello. Nice job. So I want to be clear, this is not a build it and they will come project. Filmmakers and production crews are already coming to our city. So far this year, productions are investing a total of $60 million in films that are either exclusively or in part in Jefferson County. So it's a really good start. The entertainment industry here is in our city, it's growing, and with this project, we can help elevate this industry to the level of other signature industries that we have, attract more creatives and young people to our city, and add to our already stellar performing arts scene. This investment really means investing in a whole new industry in our city. And when you think about the location of the investment, it's critical when you think about how we've been growing downtown. It's grown nicely to the east side with Nulu and Bulu and Butchertown, And now the west side with West Main Street is really doing well. The acquisition of the AT&T building as a Louisville Metro government building is critical. 4th Street Live, the Starks building, the expansion of the Sealback, and now in this block, this project. So we're continuing to push west as we join with our brothers and sisters to the west of 9th Street.
My first time in this building was probably 11 years ago. I came in with Danny Wimmer, Marty Storch, and with Michael. And we toured the building. And growing up in Massachusetts, one of the first things I saw was that this was not a rundown building. It was something that needed attention. It was there. All of the bones in this building are incredible. It was trying to figure out what worked in this building that would make financial sense and at the same time create something very important for the city, which, again, people that know me know how much I love Louisville. I spend a lot of time here. I'm at all of our festivals. I'm in and out of the city I have great relationships now, and I've made friendships with many people here in town. So I'm not just an outsider coming into your city. I've spent a lot of time, and I love it here. As you can tell, I don't speak very well because I'm a little nervous, because I don't particularly like to do this. However, the first time we came in, we were looking at the venue to see if it would work as a renovated garden. You know, can it be something where we could put 6,000, 7,000 people back, bring it back to those days? During our due diligence, we quickly found out that it just didn't work. You know, the numbers just didn't make sense. And I was very disappointed because I was really, wanting it to happen. And I felt that, the building deserved it, the city deserved to have the venue. Not only didn't the numbers work, but we were going to maybe cannibalize what was going to take place at Yum Center, what's taking place at the fairgrounds, the amphitheater, and finally we just set it aside. For the next 10 years, every time I drove by this building, you may not know this, but there's 2 big initials out there, TG. Those are my initials, and the building sort of captured me. I grew up in Salem, Massachusetts, the Witch City, and there's an omen about having that out there, just so you know. So what happened from there was I was here for Bourbon and Beyond, Louder Than Life, and I was planning to have lunch with Kirk Hammett, a lead guitar player of Metallica. So I was waiting for Kirk to come out. I was in the trailer, and I saw this article, and I kept it. I folded it and kept it. And it talked about 502 Film Collective. Scott and I have another major project in the film industry with some of the major film content producers. I called one of them up, and I said, tell me about Louisville. And they said, Louisville is a very interesting city for film production because it can transcend itself into anything. You can have a New York City scene, you can have a waterfront scene within 10 minutes or 15 minutes of the hotels, excuse me, you can be in an open, beautiful field or in a forest. What it needs is production facilities. It doesn't have a place where we can bring make our films and make them inexpensively in a space that works and suits that type of need. Also, what Louisville didn't have was the employment base for what we call behind-the-camera employment. It's not the actors and actresses, it's the folks that work the film. And what typically would happen is that a film would come here and they would have to import talent. They would bring the talent from Los Angeles or Nashville or from Atlanta, and that, again, adds to the cost. So what I quickly did was say, okay, I understand. Again, I picked up the phone and called Scott Hodgkins, and said, Scott, I think we have an opportunity here that we need to really look into. I need to get you out here to look at the Louisville Garden. It's an open span space. It's a perfectly laid out building for production facilities. And when you see and hear from our architect, I hired, I think, one of the best architects in the world, Ginsler. John Wiedner is going to talk to you about what we're going to do with the building. You'll see that it makes so much sense. And it's so different than what our original thoughts were, but I think it's something that you're going to be very proud of. We hope to bring a new industry to the city. We think, We think it's here already. It just needs to be spurred on and helped, and that's what we intend to do. Regarding the museum that the mayor mentioned, 12 years coming through the city, I have heard every story from every person about their experience and what they, and what they did at the Louisville Garden. Frank Sinatra, someone told me, performed here. Someone told me about Hall & Oates, the mayor with his experiences. Now that I met with Craig yesterday, and we're both big wrestling fans, which is going to be great. Lucha Libre is what I like, but he's a little more traditional. We may have to have a match someday here together. So one of our plans is to ask the community as we get further on to send us information, photographs, anything you have about your experiences here. And I think I'd like to do, my parents came through, and my grandfather and grandmother came through Ellis Island, and I've been there, and I think it would be so great to have a facility here where everybody can put their information in as to what they experienced here, and photos of it, so that generations to come can see and be part of what took place in this garden. The organ is sitting back there. I don't know if any of you know, there's a big pipe organ sitting in the back. Our intentions are to take the organ, try to get it operating. We don't know if it can. Maybe put it in the museum somehow, and maybe have little concerts or something that show that activity with the old pipe organ. From a renovation standpoint, I'm very familiar with the architect that did this building. We met with the Historic Preservation Council a couple of weeks ago in Frankfurt. We are committed to bringing this building back to the original design on the exterior of what the National Historic Landmark folks have designated this building for. So you've got two types of historic nature that's take place here. You've got the building and its structure and the architecture, which is incredible and great. By the way, I'm going to put the eagles back on top of the building. It was two big eagles on the top, crossed flags up there. There's a lot of great things that this building used to look like. Then there's what took place inside, which we hope to give back to the community with a museum. So again, Susie and the Film Commission, we're going to be working really close together. Mary Kay, you and I are going to spend a lot of time talking in the near future. But again, I'd like to thank everybody, thank the mayor, Ellen, Jeff. I'll tell you, we came within a year and 3 months from the time I started this to now. Any other city in America, it would have taken 3 to 5 years. And that's really something that you should be proud of here in the city. Once your team and once your city government focuses on something, it really works fast, and it's very, very, very great.
Tony alluded to the fact that he called me out from Los Angeles, which is technically true, but I left Los Angeles 18 months ago permanently. But we have a project in Southern California where we're building the first ground-up, state-of-the-art studio facility in Los Angeles. And so this is just another one of our studio projects that we're doing nationally. I'm not in Louisville, I'm just down the 65 in Nashville, but now it's a quick drive up here, and I've been up here a lot in the last year. And over the last year, I want to echo what Tony said about Ellen and Mayor Fisher and the city's attention to this. When we expressed a little bit of interest, they showed us a lot of interest. I can't believe it's a year since Tony first mentioned this to me. I've been up here for the last 6 months, but really fell in love with the opportunity this project presents and what we can do for not just Louisville, but this entire side of Western Kentucky in the film industry. I'm going to talk about a little bit of the particulars about the project, make a couple of course corrections from what you have all seen already that became public yesterday, and then I'll be available for more questions afterwards, guys. I think you all want to get inside and see what this thing looks like and what the plans are. The total capital investment for this is going to be a minimum of $60 million. Could be 80, could be more. We don't really know because we have to get inside and start kind of looking at the structural engineering of this facility. We're looking to try to get plans from over 100 years ago. And so there's a lot of restoration or renovation or reinforcement that's going to need to be done to create the exterior, to recreate the exterior and the interior before we start building inside. I'll introduce John Wiedner in a minute, who is our architect from Ginsler. specialty in studio design concepts. And what we're effectively doing is building 4 stages inside the shell, which is the old Armory. Those 4 stages will approximately be in aggregate 40,000 square feet of production space. 2 larger stages to accommodate movies and TV, a couple of smaller stages for filmed content for TikTok, along with 40,000 square feet of stage space is going to be about 40,000 square feet of office space. And those offices would also be leased to production companies that come into the venue. As Tony alluded, there'll also be a public museum to memorialize and have everybody remember the great historical, cultural, entertainment, and sports history that this facility represents. We'll have also some retail, but that's just kind of over on the side. But it's really about the production space that we hope this brings to the city. You're all probably asking, so when's it going to open, right? Well, we've signed an agreement with the city, as referenced by Mayor Fisher. We have about 180 days to get started in our initial diligence to really, really fine-tune our development budget, pull the capital together. We need to work on some incentives, both with the state, and I want to echo again, the state of Kentucky and the Economic Development Department Finance Authority, their cooperation with us, even so far, has been remarkable. Special call out, actually, to Katie and to Malcolm, if you're here in the room someplace. So after that development period, or that diligence period, we'll have a full set of plans ready to go, we think, maybe around that 180, 270-day period, and then we'll start. And that start of at least a 3-year construction period. So we're looking at something where in 4 years, hopefully, we can open doors and bring all of that new economic influx into the city. Now, what does that mean, economic, right? Well, the construction alone is going to be somewhere between 600 and 800 jobs. But once it's opened and done, those jobs go away. There'll be actually relatively few direct employees of the operating company for River City Entertainment Group, which will operate the studios. You only need about 50 to 100 people to do that, but that's 50 to 100 well-paid, permanent jobs. It's what the 502 Film Collective will bring to the city for the production companies that come in, because that's an extra 100 to 125 for a feature film, maybe 200 people who are going to be here for weeks, months, and extended, if you get an extended series. So that's the real opportunity we think this presents for the city. I'm going to conclude my remarks there. I'll be available for questions when we follow. But I, too, like Tony, want to thank Mayor Fisher and his staff. I want to thank Jeff. Where's Jeff? Jeff, thank you very much, and Louisville Forward, Jeff O'Brien, for all the help they've provided to us. Ben Moore and his group with the economic development side of things here in Louisville. And most importantly, I truly do want to thank Ellen Hessen, who without her focus on this project, this would not be possible. So Ellen, thank you very much.
All right, folks, thank you all so much. I also want to recognize officially Louisville Forward Chief Jeff O'Brien, Economic Development Director Ben Moore. Thank you, guys. I want to mention their predecessors too. Marilyn Wiederwall has been part of this project in Vision Forever. She's in St. Louis today. Rebecca Fleischaker, I don't know if Rebecca is here with us. Rebecca, thank you. She runs Louisville Downtown Partnership, but before was co-leading Louisville Forward with Jeff. So it takes a good team, and we got a great team here, and obviously had a lot of success. Louisville Forward has been named 8 years in a row one of the top economic development agencies in the country. So a lot's involved with that, part of which is working with the state and the KEDFA application. So I want to really thank the folks from the state also for all of the help that they've given us here. I want to recognize Economic Development Deputy Secretary Katie Smith and Project Manager Malcolm Jolie. Are they here? Katie and Malcolm, are you here? Well, we send you our love. Are they here? Okay, over here. Thank you. Great job. And I want to thank also Jamie Link from the Labor Cabinet, the secretary there, because I'll talk about that here in a second. You heard about the financial investment here. The reason why we're announcing this, obviously, is because we're getting into the letter of intent stage, but there's going to be a lot of activity going in and around this building right now, so people need to understand what that is. And during this time, Louisville Forward will also work with the group to draft a development agreement based on the letter of intent, but the first step is to understand the real cost of renovating and revitalizing this building. And once we have a firm grasp on that, Louisville Metro can begin discussion on other considerations, including incentives. Now, as Tony and Scott noted, this project is not contained to the historic Louisville Gardens property, so right here. It also includes buy-in from the state in the form of state and local job creation incentives that were approved just yesterday, as well as ongoing conversations with the Commonwealth about a potential workforce site just across the street here at 6th and Cedar. So those discussions are not finalized yet, but we see this becoming a campus around here and not just this building.
This is such an exciting day for creatives across the city and for those that I believe will someday call Louisville home, thanks to today's announcement. I'm honored to speak with all of you all today as the chair of the Louisville Film Commission, as the president of the local nonprofit 502 Film, and also as a filmmaker. I have the deepest gratitude for today's announcement from all three of those perspectives. 502 Film has spent the last year connecting productions with our local crew, with vendors and resources, and conducting workforce development, training over 400 individuals to start their production careers. The Film Commission has helped advocate for the return of our state tax incentives and prepare our city for the huge increase in productions that incentives bring. As a filmmaker, I temporarily moved from Los Angeles to Louisville to shoot a film because of our tax incentives. After I finished filming, I decided to stay because I saw opportunity in my hometown, both as a filmmaker and as someone who wants to help build the local Louisville film economy. A film economy that will surely see accelerated growth thanks to today's incredible announcement. Thank you to Mayor Fisher for recognizing the importance of the creative community and the creative economy. Your foresight in forming the Film Commission 8 years ago set the course for our city's economic growth. Thank you to the Louisville Film Commission members who I serve alongside, as we have worked for nearly a decade with the mayor, the Department for Economic Development, and other city officials to get our film and media infrastructure poised for growth and to attract investment in our community like the one announced here today. Thank you to Tony and to Scott and the River City Entertainment Group for your belief in our city, in our creative talent, and for repurposing this historic space, which, along with our lucrative film tax incentives, will make Louisville even more attractive to creative talent and projects. Kentucky's most recent entertainment tax incentives, which began at the start of 2022, are considered by many to be the best in the country. It's because of those incentives that we have seen a huge uptick in productions this year. 58 films have been approved with budgets of over $150 million. These productions include 6,228 Kentucky-based hires. Compare that to just last year, 2021. We had $0 of incentivized films with 0 Kentucky crew hires. That's one heck of a leap in 1 year. We now have local crew members who no longer have to commute to other cities for work. We have creatives who have left Louisville coming back to their Kentucky roots. And additionally, we have people who have never lived here before moving to our city because they have learned about our incentives and our city's longstanding support of the creative arts. We have seen other cities like New Orleans and Atlanta build studios like this. This investment from the River City Entertainment Group grows Louisville's opportunity to attract more productions and support services here and invites creatives to come and to stay in our community. 502 Film will continue its work connecting productions to our talented crew and resources, and to ensure Louisville can support the increase in productions that this studio will bring, we will continue training residents who are looking for jobs in film and television production. To date, individuals from more than 80 Louisville zip codes have attended our training. We hope to grow our audience and scope of training even further and are thankful for the support we have received from the city and from our generous sponsors for these efforts. Louisville has always been a place where artists can thrive, practice their craft, and grow their profession. The inclusion of film and media in our growth not only contributes to the heart and soul of our city, but it is also economically viable and important. Thank you for believing in our potential and in the potential for this most special Louisville landmark.